I am Arif, and if you are here today to listen to a dreamy story that will soothe you and comfort you, you are in the right place. Tonight, we will go on a slow, relaxing journey across the mountains of Switzerland by train. We will explore sleepy villages, panoramic mountain passes, and river valleys that will inch you closer and closer to a night of restful sleep and relaxation. Before we begin, let us take a moment to find comfort in the space we are in. As you lie in your bed, safe and cozy, close your eyes and let your body relax. Release any tension you may be feeling in your body. Search throughout yourself to see where you may be feeling any leftover weight from the day. Take time to pay attention to how your neck, shoulders, back, and legs feel. Find the best position for them and make sure all your muscles are loose. Once your body feels free, it is time to quiet your mind. Here, safe and warm in bed, there is no need to think of the tasks of the day. All you need to do is clear your thoughts. Focus on something that brings you joy. Perhaps imagine the most soothing place you have ever been to. What did the air taste and feel like? What kind of noises were around you? What did the sun or the air feel like against your skin? Really allow your mind to take you there as you answer these questions and breathe in and out, in and out, in and out. See the power your mind has to transport you to places and find solace in the wonders of the world and the experiences that can be found within it. Now that we have taken a moment to relax, let us begin. It is early morning in midsummer. When you awaken, you hear comforting chirps of the birds just outside your window. You feel the plush silk sheets rub against your skin. The bed beneath you is unbelievably soft, inviting you to sink in and stay forever. Comfortably lost somewhere in the sweet, sweet moments between being asleep and awake, you feel utterly content. There is nothing you need to do except fully relax and enjoy how pleasant lying in bed is. You listen closely to the peaceful noises of the world stirring awake on the cobblestone streets just outside. There is, of course, the ever-present, gentle chirp of the birds singing. Here, in Zermatt, Switzerland, you found yourself in a bird watcher's paradise. You hear the call of a spotted nutcracker gliding in between the thatched roofs of the town, effortlessly floating from building to building. Just beyond, you can hear a Eurasian jaybird. For an instant, you picture its bright blue feathers shining against the rising sun. Of course, you hear the city coming to life as well. There's the soft pitter-patter of people making their way through the cozy streets. You can even tune into their early morning conversations, which are like a steady hum dancing in your ears. You can also hear the whir of bike wheels making their way down the cobblestone streets. The early morning air flows through the window, urging you to rise to your feet. The breeze is brisk and calming, with the promise of a lovely new day. You pull on some lightweight clothes and pack a small bag. The white curtains shift in the wind, reminding you that there is a whole world out there waiting to be explored. As you descend down into the wonderful town of Zermatt, it is hard not to let out a sigh of delight. All around you, the Alps stand in regal beauty. Even in the dead of summer, the very tops of the mountains are dusted with the last snow of winter. Zermatt is a town of cobblestone streets. No cars are allowed in the village, so you are free to walk the clean, empty streets with total freedom. It is mainly a resort and mountaineering town, as it has been for many centuries. Nearly half of the population here works in tourism, and it's easy to see why. The historic, cozy buildings are surrounded by green, white, and dark granite mountains. The greens of the grass and foliage pop against the snow and the bright blue sky. The mountains all around you seem impossibly tall. It almost looks like a movie backdrop, not something that could exist in real life. The most beautiful of all is Matterhorn, one of the highest mountains of the Alps. It hovers above the small town, standing 14,692 feet high. It was here, in Zermatt, that the first ascent of the Matterhorn was completed in 1865. That single incident would help Zermatt become the buzzing mountain town that it remains today. It is a gateway to the Alps in every way possible. You meander through the streets. All around, flags hang over the buildings. Plants cling to the edges of single-pane windows in decades-old flower boxes, a truly welcome and beautiful sight. In old store windows, colorful arrays of clothing and souvenirs stare back at you. As you walk further, you pass by bakeries and cafes. This sweet smell of homemade hot chocolate nearly pulls you in the door of a couple of them. The smell of freshly made bread hangs in the air, warm and rich. Passing by the family-owned bakeries seems to pull you back in time. You feel as though you are a member of the village, someone who has called it home for centuries. As you pass by the bakeries, you deeply inhale that nostalgic scent. You find yourself heading towards the edge of town, where more wonderful delights await you. You cross through a bright green meadow. The grass whispers to you as you pass, and the flowers swaying in the breeze emit an aroma that is almost as sweet as the bakeries. Then you have arrived. The sign for the Glacier Express hangs above your head, cited as being the calmest, slowest, and most beautiful train ride in the entire world. You are surely in for a tranquil journey aboard it. The Glacier Express is a calming 8-hour ride that ends in St. Moritz, a town at an even higher elevation in the Alps. The train will wind ever so slowly through the Alps, giving you moments to stretch your legs, breathe in the mountain air, and observe all the tiny towns and villages along the way. As you board the train, you are immediately greeted by a warm atmosphere. The train car is completely encased in glass, giving you panoramic views. You settle into a cozy seat in the front of the train car. You buzz with anticipation as you look out of your window at the sleepy town of Zermatt. Soon, there will be dozens of different towns outside the window. Along the way, you will pass over 291 bridges and through 91 tunnels carved into the mountainside. As you're envisioning the day ahead of you, a waiter comes to your side. He places a menu in front of you, letting you know that you are able to order whatever you would like, whenever you would like. Thinking back to the sweet smells of Zermatt, you order a Swiss hot chocolate and a warm croissant. Within minutes, the train has begun its journey. Slowly, Zermatt fades into the distance, and an entirely new world is brought to life before your eyes. You glide effortlessly along the tracks. Outside the window, a huge meadow seems to stretch for miles. The vibrant green grass reaches all the way to the base of the Alps. A river babbles through the meadow, where several deer bend down into the fresh mountain water for a drink. Some of them bound through the tall grass gracefully, almost weightlessly. For a moment, you imagine what life must be like here for them. They have no obligations, no expectations. They simply go about their daily life, bounding through meadows, drinking in streams, and lounging in the early morning sun. You picture yourself living in a cabin at the edge of this meadow. You can almost feel the breeze on your face and the grass brushing across your ankles as you make your way to the stream to collect a bucket of water. As you walk, you imagine yourself as one with the deer, as one with the mountains that encompass your humble home. Slowly, the meadow slides out of view. The train begins an upward journey into the mountains. On either side of you, tall, rocky mountains are the only thing to be seen. Overhead, birds flit from side to side. One of the birds in particular catches your eye. It is a small bird with a storm gray downy coat, a long, thin beak, and a brilliant swath of red in its feathers. This is affectionately known as a wall creeper. They're rare, only found in the Alps in Switzerland and the Himalayas in Asia. It is in the rocky alpine mountains where they form their nests. There, they flit from rock to rock, effortlessly and gracefully. They are a frequent sight of mountain climbers, one of the few animals that they must share their space with. You emerge from the mountain pass into a wonderland of beauty. There are meadows on every side of you. The tall grass of the meadows sparkles in the sunlight, and the breeze floats across it, rippling it like ocean waves. It is then that you notice the calming sounds of the train, the rhythm of the wheels chugging along underneath you is incredibly soothing. All of the mechanical parts working together in unison are a consistent drone. It's almost like listening to laundry turning over in a washing machine with the same warmth and tranquil repetition. The noise alone leaves your eyelids feeling heavy. You lean against the glass window, finding the most comfortable position to fully feel this lovely experience. As soon as you are in place, you feel the tension from your travels melt out of you. You feel each and every muscle fully relaxing. Maybe it's the motion of the train or the drone of its movement. Whatever it is, its serene pull is allowing you to feel a level of comfort you never have before. All the knots in your body, any rigid aches or pains, are whisked away. It's almost as if you've been submerged in a hot spring. You open your eyes when a sweet scent fills the air. Your waiter stands before you, a cup of hot chocolate and a plate of fresh croissant in his hands. He spreads a red tablecloth on the table before you, then the food. It feels like you're in a luxurious restaurant, and with the views outside your window, it is completely unmatched. The aromatic steam from the hot chocolate rises, washing over your face in a warm mist. You take a deep breath before you take your first sip. As soon as the sweet, perfectly rich and balanced liquid coats your tongue, you are in love. Switzerland has been known as the chocolate capital of the world for decades. It was here that several revolutionary inventors found innovative ways to mix, mass produce, and form chocolate in the best way possible. It also has one large advantage and difference from other places in the world, and that advantage lies just outside your window. The train lazily meanders through a pasture of cows. Some lounge peacefully in the tall grass. Their cream and brown coats contrast wonderfully with the striking greenery all around them. Cows and farming are a huge part of the culture in Switzerland. For generations, farmers have raised their cows in alpine pastures where the sun and nutrients are plentiful. The cows that live in this region produce alpine milk, a milk that is richer in flavor and nutrients than regular milk. Knowing this difference earlier on, several chocolatiers in the region mixed the alpine milk into their chocolate, creating what is widely known as milk chocolate to this day. You can taste that richness in the hot chocolate. Your hands clasp around the cup, welcoming the warmth and the sweet taste on your tongue. As you nurse the cup, you watch the farms drift by. This is a farm unlike any other you've seen. There are only a handful of cows wandering through the large pasture, and that's mostly because Swiss farms are much smaller than farms abroad. Most farmers here tend carefully to a small herd, selling that milk in local villages or to vendors. A cozy little farmhouse sits in the far end of the field. It is a charming building with wood shingles and an angled roof, perfect for removing snow. You dip your croissant into the hot chocolate. You watch as the croissant warms up the warm, sweet drink. Your first bite of the croissant takes you back to your walk through Zermatt. As the train reaches the end of this stretch of meadow, you find yourself coming over your first bridge. The train stops for a moment, allowing you to take a long look at the stunning piece of architecture The stone bridge pops against the green trees behind. It is tall, spanning over a babbling creek below. Stone archways support the tracks, resembling a piece of art. The train glides over the bridge. You glance down below at that slow-flowing creek. White water laps over rocks and around bends, winding over fallen pine trees as it makes its way downstream. Everywhere you look is another incredible sight, and you have plenty of time to take a breath and truly take it all in. The snail's pace of the train is soothing and deeply appreciated in an environment that is this stunning. The train begins to wind down the mountain. In the distance, nestled within a valley, you can just make out a small town. This is Brig, Switzerland. Slowly, the wilderness of the Alps is replaced by charming buildings as you inch closer and closer towards Brig. The buildings are crafted of white stone with iron balconies and richly colored roofs. Brig is a city flourishing with Italian architecture, harkening back to its early beginnings. It is a charming city without the tourism focus of Zermatt, though it is nestled around 3 mountain summits of the Alps: Glisshorn, Spitzhorle, and Takuhorn. It doesn't draw as many mountaineers as the more easily accessible Zermatt. You pull into the town and the train pauses, giving you a short break to explore and stretch your legs. You rise from the table and step out of the train station, taking deep breaths of the mountain air. The sun kisses your skin, refreshing you and warming you in its rays. This time of day, in the mid-morning, Brig is bustling with people. Couples glide by on bikes, smiling at one another. A woman sails by with a fluffy pup in her basket. Flowers line the courtyard, all swaying lightly in the breeze. You sit down in a carved iron chair and take in your surroundings. It slows your heart and mind, seeing everyone going about their day, interacting peacefully with one another, enjoying this beautiful scenery. The iron balconies of Brig are flourishing with flowers. Looking out over the cobblestone street is like looking over a sea of pink, orange, and yellow. It takes your breath away and deeply soothes your soul. Satisfied, you climb back onto the train, ready to embark onto the next destination. As you exit Brig, you find yourself crossing the Rhine River. The river is a turquoise blue, with white caps splashing over the rocks. In the distance, river cruises meander across the waves, allowing their visitors to take in the same views, and the views are breathtaking. As you ascend higher into the mountains, the snow on the peaks seems to be growing closer and closer. The white and gray peaks are contrasted by the rolling green hills that surround you. Once you've passed the Rhine River, you enter the Upper Rhone Valley, a valley of rolling meadows surrounded by those snowy peaks. The Upper Rhone Valley is everything you expect Switzerland to be. It is here that small villages pass by your window, They seem so far away from each other, so disconnected and remote. In that same realm, their atmosphere is one of peace. The villagers look happy. They move along at a pace as slow as the trains, as if they are taking in the scenery just as much as you are, only they're experiencing it day after day after day after day. You watch in awe as farmers tend to their cows and people place their clothes out to dry on clotheslines. You can only imagine how fresh and clean those clothes would feel after a long day of hanging in this alpine air. The hours pass as you lean against the window, sipping calmly on your hot chocolate and nibbling on your croissant. The train meanders over more stone bridges and through stone tunnels. As you emerge from each tunnel, you find yourself even more taken aback by the views as the mountains are revealed to you once more. As you near the town of Andermatt, you key in on the sound of the train once more. The drone of the wheels urges you to get as comfortable as possible. With your eyes half closed, you lean against the window and wrap your arms around yourself. You sink deeply into the seat and let out a gentle sigh of relief. This is, without a doubt, the most glorious way to see the countryside. Every single bit of landscape outside the window is like a painting. As time passes, the train begins a long ascent up the mountains. Here, you are experiencing the most desolate part of the journey. The Rhine River rises to its highest point here. During winter, the landscape is barren and rocky, but now it is a slice of isolated heaven, winding behind tall mountains, miles and miles from the nearest town. You pass by civilization that once was, old farmland that has been forgotten for decades rolls by the window. The log fencing bows into the ground. Life sprouts up from the cracks in the wooden logs, flowers and bits of moss that found a home wherever they could. Behind it, a small farmhouse sits in the middle of the meadow. Yellow and white flowers cover the ground in swaths of color all around it. The house itself has a thatched roof, with tall plants and grass growing from it. Birds nestle in the grass, comfortable and happy to have a cozy home. It's hard to imagine that once a family's whole life was here. You imagine them in old clothing, the children hanging around the fences in the summertime sun, the parents hard at work in the garden or walking hand in hand. What a peaceful life they must have had here. They'd have no distractions, no interruptions, aside from the weather patterns rippling across the high-altitude landscape here. As the old farm passes by the train window, disappearing behind the next mountain peak, you know you will hold it in your heart forever. Few people will experience something so wild, distant, and beautiful. The train begins its long descent to Chur along the Rhine Valley. It is here that one of the most breathtaking sights comes into view. Ruin Alta, also known as Switzerland's Grand Canyon. A canyon carved by decades of glaciers and the Rhine River, Ruin Alta is an area where the bright blue river shines against stark white rock faces. Your eyes focus entirely on the view as you descend deeper and deeper into the canyon. A few pine trees pop out against the white rock, providing a rainbow of colors. This part of the trip is taken slowly. It pauses every few hundred feet to take in the view. You appreciate each and every stop, completely in awe of this wonderful landscape. You bid the canyon farewell and descend even further until you reach Kur. Unlike any of the other towns you've seen, Kur is surrounded by miles and miles of vineyards. The town itself is a brilliant mix of cultures. Medieval cities remain within the town limits, and Roman settlements can be seen. This is the lowest town you will visit on your train journey. As you pass through the town, you see rows of colorful buildings and antique brickwork. Ancient churches pepper the city, their steeples standing tall and proud against the bright blue sky. You continue on through Kur, heading for your final destination, St. Moritz. To get there, you wind up into the mountains yet again, passing by the ruins of ancient cities and castles you can see far in the distance of the valleys. It is here that you will pass Landwasser Viaduct, one of the most impressive sights on the trip. This bridge hovers 200 feet above the ground, curving from one tunnel to the next over a beautiful expanse of wildlife and nature. As the train chugs along, passing over the spectacular bridge, you take in the final marvel of the trip, and how fitting it is, a brilliant piece of human ingenuity, allowing you to connect with nature from afar. As you enter the tunnel, you close your eyes and tune in once more to the sound of the train. You can feel it moving under you in the darkness, winding through the thick mountain around you, inching further and further towards St. Moritz. When you exit the tunnel, you see the town in the distance, tucked between the mountains and a sparkling lake. It is a resort town unlike any other, one that you will surely be enjoying. As the train pulls into the station, you take a deep breath. The trip brought you from one side of Switzerland to the other, exploring beautiful, forgotten places and some of the most stunning mountains on Earth. You feel refreshed and inspired. As you step off the train, you can't help but glance back at it fondly one more time. I hope you've enjoyed this story, and it's helped you reach a night of peaceful, relaxing sleep. Please, join me again tomorrow for another sleep story. Until then, sweet dreams.